basically promise them on the landing page. But I was thinking more something like really tactical, like the perfect outfit for you, like one perfect outfit, or something to match their skin tone, like your ideal colors. Like that would be a cool one, because like that doesn't, you have to like put a whole thing together. It's just like, oh, this skin tone, there's like 10 tones, and you just pick the one that's appropriate for them.
Yeah.
Okay. So
we were gonna do that next, and also something else. We were gonna do the one perfect outfit, but it's so nuanced. But then we were thinking, okay, what if we just share with them? Hey, here's how. What are some of the steps that they do to prepare to if they were to work with us? How are they invested? So we were thinking like taking their measurements, having them do some of these steps, like creating a mood board themselves.
So we want them. So for a lead magnet to be really valuable, we want it to be risk-free, easy, and fast. And so those things require effort. Okay. And so we don't want the avatar to work to get the value. We want them to just click and get the value.
Okay.
And so I think what we think about is like, I think this is actually really interesting. This is just me personally, so maybe I'm a CEO man, but it's like there are some skin tones, that combination, basically it's like you have a combination of hair and skin tone and eye color that is unique to you. And between all these different permutations, there's 100 different variations people can have, and they have a different color palette that would be unique to them. Now, you'll know behind the scenes that there's probably like 8 different color styles or whatever. And so I think either doing color, because that feels like the easiest, 1 degree more nuanced than that would be a specific style, being like, streetwear, hip hop, like whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know that better than me.
Professional, casual.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that this is like, you could do this tomorrow, you don't have to change anything just by repositioning lead magnet. So the reason that I'm hitting so hard on lead magnets, and I have a whole chapter about this inside the lead book, is lead magnets, how to engage your leads, is that she has this huge leak in her funnel.
Right now. Why are you saying
so it's like, we can solve this with the right lead magnet. Now, most people give terrible lead magnets. So a lot of people give no lead magnets. The few that do give lead magnets often give terrible lead magnets. And so we want to have an exceptional lead magnet, which typically means we have to work more on the front end so that our prospect has to work less. And so it's kind of like pre-digesting the food so that they can just immediately get the value. Think about you as a baby bird, just kind of feeding your prospects the value. And as a little pro tip for you, if you have the choice between 2 lead magnets, one thing that's more valuable but takes longer, and the other is less valuable but immediate, this is the one that customers will rather have, especially as a lead magnet, which then can lead to a service that looks more like this. I would experiment with the different headlines there, and then we need to measure the conversion rate of the page. I know that you turned them down. Can you pull up her numbers? The interesting thing here is like 1,800 clicks. I think we could be able to get somewhere in the neighborhood of like, if we're doing this right, like 500 leads from that amount of spend.
Oh.
And literally we just need to nail this. Because on a Google ad, high intent search like this, you should be able to get like 30% of people opt in. So from a benchmark perspective.
To this.
To something that is right for this audience. The only reason we were able to identify this hole and huge opportunity in Ashley's business is because she actually had her data. And so it is amazing to me the amount of business owners who have no data on the business and they're like, man, I don't know what to do. Well, once you get the data can often tell you where your opportunities are. And so here there was a clear leak. Now, she might not know the benchmarks for this, but having been in the industry of business, typically an opt-in page for some sort of lead magnet with qualified traffic can get somewhere between 20 and 50, sometimes 60% of people to opt in for it if it's very clearly defined and there's a good match between the traffic that's coming in. And so for her, me saying, I think 30% is a good benchmark is kind of where that came from. So if someone's looking for personal stylist near me or personal stylist LA, then it's like, what is the first piece? And like I always think about like our offer is, you've got all these steps that someone has to take. Can I peel off the first one, even though it's something that I normally charge for? What's my actual cost? It's going to be time. Can I template some of these things out so that I can still provide a lot of value, but not have it take too much of my personal time? And the cool thing with these, like more costly or unscalable lead magnets, is that you only have to give it to people who are qualified. So you are not obligated to, like, you can choose to do this only if someone meets these qualifications, and you just say that on the landing page.
Okay.
So it's like, hey, if you're a mom with kids and a socialite, or you're a CEO guy and you're not getting what you want, then like, schedule one of our style assessments where we'll go through personally your skin tone, your hair color, your eye color, and find the things that will immediately make you look better just within your existing closet. Because that's like, again, they don't have to do anything, and they'll immediately look better. That's like immediate value, not a lot of work.
Okay.
So I'll be like, okay, that's what we're gonna offer. So now I can get more people to apply. Now they're gonna fill out their stuff, and again, if they're not qualified, then it's like, well, you didn't read the headlines, so don't worry about it. And then for them, I would probably just send them some free things that they feel, she'll give them something. But that would be the thing that I would do to improve the funnel right off the bat without really even seeing the funnel, is clear headline around what they're going to get. Subheadline is either an image of like, almost like a before and after of style, or some sort of image that shows, white skin, brown hair, don't do this.
Okay.
And then they're like, oh shoot, I do that. And so just like a simple thing that they're like, shoot, I do that. And then they're like, oh my God, I need help. And so all we're doing is increasing deprivation so that they take the next action. Okay. So that would be a lead magnet component that I would do for these paid ads. Now, I think that you have the scheduler, so they apply it, then they schedule. I know you're gonna put the video together.
Yeah.
There's the video before the call that gets them to book. And then I would probably consider setting a second video between booking and showing. And then that does a little bit of the pre-sale for you. And I think about this in terms of like, what are those things that you repeat on a regular basis on the call? So there's usually like, in every call, there's kind of like a little bit of a sales pitch that occurs where you're like, okay, so let me tell you what we do. I just try to put as much of that before the call so that I can spend the majority of the call on the person, the decision-making process, rather than basically have this like pre-recorded script that I have to keep reading over and over, because it tires out your sales team eventually. And so that's how I would try to do it. I think that if we can do a lead magnet, we can capture way more leads. I think if we add the video to the landing page, so it would look like this. So we have our page. There we go. We've got a little video here. And so then we have our little scheduler underneath. Now this booker, we should have our qualifications. So we want to have like income. Right? Do you ask for income?
No.
I would ask for income or budget. If you only knew 2 or 3 things about them to make them qualified, what would you want to know?
Are they open to?
That's a good one. Okay. Open to change?
Yeah.
Okay. What about start date?
Yeah, that too.
Okay.
The budget's really honestly the biggest thing.
Okay. Well, then I would definitely have that be prominently featured.
Do you think it makes sense to put the pricing?
No. No, I don't think so. I think that if we ask for qualifications and we describe the services, that'll give us 80%, and then basically you just want to find. Because the thing is like you don't want to disqualify, because there's some people who have smaller income but really want this.
Yeah.
And so it's finding kind of that sweet spot, which is like if someone then says like I want to start immediately, I'm super open, and their budget's like medium, then you probably take the call, right? If they're like my budget's zero, then like okay, well, it doesn't matter how much you want it, it's not going to work, right? So 2 important points here. One is that when you give a very valuable lead magnet away, you don't have to give it away to everyone. And so we want to make our lead magnet super valuable, but only give them to qualified customers. And so that's what makes it kind of like a honey trap for the right type of people. Number 2 is that what I'm going through is BANT, which is budget, authority, need, timing. And so that's what most people need in order to be qualified to then get closed. And so asking those things kind of in the friction process helps push out the bad traffic and help us judge and score the leads that are coming in so that we can see which of these have the highest likelihood of closing and then prioritize those leads to sell. And so I think that on your qualification question, which you'll have on your scheduler, we just ask for the fewest amount of questions that are required for us to make the decision whether or not they should stay or not.
Okay.
All right, so now we just have to figure out, and this is where like the headline is like free, look better, dress for your, just obviously your tone, whatever. And so this is something that you will just test more than anything else, and it'll be relevant to whatever your little freebie that you're gonna give them.
Okay.
And I really like the like existing clothes. So like how to best use your existing closet, I think is a really strong angle, because now they're gonna come in and then you're gonna be like, oh, you don't have one of these? Oh, you don't have one of these? Like, and then it's like, and then you're like, you're in the sale, right? So this is probably what I would do for the lander. And I think that if we did that, that'll give us more throughput, that'll give us more leads. In terms of follow-up, you currently don't really have follow-up.
Other than like manual, hey, checking in kind of thing.
So if we want to have the 201 version of this, we can take the scheduler and put it here, which is like the thank you page, and then just make this an opt-in, where we just ask for this. And then if they're qualified, they go here, and if they're unqualified, they go like free thing. You just give them a free thing. That way you don't have to waste your time. They don't fill up your calendar.
Oh, okay. And that's like
sense?
with something different than the either of these you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or we do an automated version of the same thing.
Right.
And so if we wanted to make it seem a little bit more, we could put it skin. So like it'll feel personalized. If you're like, what's your skin tone, what's your hair color, what's your eye color? That might be an easy thing that you could ask, and people are like, oh, okay, this is personalized. And so if they say they have no money, then it goes to the, here's what people who have brown hair and white skin or whatever, and then they can just get that free thing.
Okay.
And then if they are qualified and have the money, then it's like, hey, great, all you gotta do is book your appointment below, and look forward to talking to you, and then you just work the lead, confirm the appointment, just like you normally would.
But then the lead is not so much about, okay, so tell me about where you're at with your style. It's
I think we'll do that on the sales call.
okay, but I thought that with this skin tone thing,
We'll deliver it on the sales call.
delivered on the sales
Yeah.
call, right? I'm just trying to think how do you fit that into the script?
So the way I would think through this is that I'm going to have like 10 templates that I know their color palettes that work for these 10 characteristic people. And if I have asked their skin, hair, whatever up front, then I know when I'm going into the call which template I'm going to be using when I talk to them. So it's like, hey, oh, you're a blah, 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 blah. Actually, I would describe you more as olive than white, and I think this might actually be a better thing for you. Cool, okay, and then you go into your normal sales process, which obviously works. I don't even want to talk about sales because closing 50%.
Okay. Right now it's like book a call, a sales call basically, and that's like obvious what I'm
Yeah.
speaking about. But then this feels like, oh, just have a call about skin tone.
Well, this is sales.
Yeah, and then it's not an issue because they're already qualified.
You're only taking the calls with people who have the income. So you're going to take more calls. You're also going to hear more no's, but you're going to make more money. Like fundamentally, I could just say like, I could run an ad that just said, hey, I have this really expensive thing, book here if you want it, and this is the price. And the people who hop on those calls will be incredibly qualified. But if I just said I have this really free amazing thing that'll help you with the first problem, let me help you with that. And then people are like, oh, but do you do any of, you know what, I do that stuff. It's so funny you ask, and I get 10 times the calls. And so if I close 30% of a 10x number, I still close 3 times the deals.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so there's a little bit, now part of it is because you're selling out of your own wallet in terms of time.
Yeah.
And so it's because you're like, I have my time and I understand that. But all we have to do is just tweak these things. So like, if you have somebody who you have the information about them, you have the income. And so what I try to do for these is BANT. So budget, this is kind of like the authority. Can you make the decision? Need, how bad you want it, which is your biggest problem. And the timing, when do you want to start? If I were to accept you, when do we get started? And so you want somebody who says, immediately, I'm in high need, I can make the decision, and I have the money. And so that's fundamentally what these are. And if you want to add your personalization of like skin and hair and what, like, you know this, eyes.
Upload your photo.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That one's going to be a lot of friction. So I would consider having that in the follow-up process.
Okay.
Because otherwise someone's like, take a photo, they got to upload a picture. Oh, because think of this, there's a decision they have to make. They're gonna be like, what picture am I going to pick? And then they're gone. They're like in another world. And they're in their phone, and they're like, oh yeah, I forgot, I have to call Sandra back. And then like they're off.
I mean, I really just train somebody to just do it live.
Yeah. I mean, as many things as possible you can do. Like, we want to decrease the friction here for qualified people.
Right.
So there's good friction, bad friction. So good friction is something that increases the overall quality lead and gets out people who suck. Bad friction gets everyone out. A slow page load time, for example, everyone leaves. Good people and bad people. We want to get the type of friction that only bad people leave and good people stay.
Okay.
And so if we have budget authority, need timing, we have the specific things relative to the lead magnet, then your follow-up, if you want, like, hey, if you can send me a picture, it'd be great. If not, I can just go off of your Facebook profile or something like that. Then they show up at the call. You have your one of templates that you already figured out ahead of time. That then sets up the sale, which is for you. It's like, oh, you don't have this, and this. All we're doing is expanding the gap of like, you're here, you want to be here.
Come on,
oh, you're missing all this
Charles,
stuff. Oh, you know
let's
what's so
go.
funny? I think you'd be a perfect fit for what we have. Can I tell you about it? And then you're in.
Got it.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I would do to change the paid ads funnel. Can you spend more on this?
Gravity mounted.
Or like, dude, if I had a machine in front of me where you, and this is without you doing any of this.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. That's without you doing anything.
Right.
So if I said, okay, instead of paying $3,400 a year, what if we paid like $3,400 a month?
Yeah.
Well, that would 12 actually business. That'd be chill.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it beats the S&P 500. We put $1 in and get $23 back within the next week. It's not bad.
Right.
A lot of business owners are scared to spend more money on marketing because they don't have the data to show what the return is. If you have a machine in front of you where you put $1 in and it spits out $16 back in 30 days, why would you have any kind of limit on that budget? You put as many dollars in that machine as you possibly could, right? Of course. And so she has one of these machines, and probably just in preparation for this show, she got the LTV to CAC ready so she could see what a discrepancy there was. If you don't know what LTV to CAC is, it's the lifetime value of the customer relative to the cost of acquiring them. So basically, how much money does it cost me to get a customer, and then how much money do I get from that customer once I got them? The cheaper it is to get a customer, and then the more money they give you, the greater the discrepancy between those two numbers, the more money potential there is in the business. And so this is fundamentally the economic arbitrage that exists at the core of every business that then fuels all the growth of everything. And here's the craziest part. Ashley's getting $23 back for every $1 she puts into her machine. And she's only spending $3,400 per year in this machine. But that $3,400 times 23 is generating $78,000 in income within a year. Like, imagine investing in the S&P 500, putting $3,400 into the end of the year, $78,000. You're like, holy cow, this is amazing investment life. Her business has that inside, and she's like, hey, I don't want to put too much in. I'm pulling her chain. But a lot of businesses have these huge treasure troves that are just sitting there and not being leveraged. I'm going to put an order of actions here. So I'm going to tear this off because we're going to save it, and at the end, we're going to order everything. Okay? So the next thing that I want to go over is the affiliates, because I think that's really important.
You would not touch Facebook ads.
Well, you already have an acquisition channel that's working and super profitable. So
absolutely, yeah, to get that many price cards.
So, because you can spend more if you wanted to. Well, yeah, let's spend more. But we'll do that. Actually, I'll put that as a note for me. So I'm going to put steps in here for you. Okay. All right, let's talk about affiliates. So matchmakers.
Yes.
Okay. So you have 6 matchmakers right now.
4 matchmakers, 2 private clubs.
Okay. So I'll go.
I mean, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're good. Okay. So you got 6 affiliates.
Yeah.
You've got 4 matchmakers and 2 private clubs. Okay. Got it. So how much time did it take you to get each of these affiliates?
Not much time.
Okay. We did a cursory Google search of LA and found that there were multiple hundreds of the people who do this.
You don't know.
So in a magic world, what would it take for us to go from 6 to 60?
Yeah, I think not that long.
Okay. And each of these sends you people on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
What was the process that you did to integrate with them?
I met with the owner and
So you did outreach to get them?
manual outreach.
Okay. Is it like phone calls, text, email, DMs?
Email.
Okay.
Manual outreach, explained that we can offer a complimentary service to their new clients.
Oh, cool.
And, you know, that we could close them.
Love this. Almost like it's directly out of the affiliate section in the book. Wherever it is. Here it is, Kelly Gutters. It's in there. All right. Anyways, keep going.
And that's it. And then they would.
And what percentage do you close the people you talk to?
That's been the hard part, is like getting them.
Okay. Do you know how many outreach attempts you did to get to the 6?
Probably about 40.
Okay, and I want to paint something for you because I think it's going to be interesting. Okay, it's not often that you find, a single point of leverage in a business that's as clear cut as this one is for Ashley. When I do find them, I get very excited about it because it's like, these are the things that can change people's lives, right? It can change the income they can have, the neighborhood they live in, the schools their kids go to, and just completely can change a family tree for generations. And so when I find these types of opportunities, I just I light up because I'm so excited about it, because I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen later once this lever gets really pulled. When she said that she'd only emailed 40 people to generate a third of her revenue, I'm like, 40 emails, because I have context of what kind of response rates cold email gets. And it's certainly not you closing 15% of cold outbound. Normally, if you get 1% or 0.5%, you're thrilled. And so she's at like 10 times the efficiency, 15 times the efficiency of what normal outbound does. And so as soon as I saw that, I was like, this is it. You sent 40 emails and you were able to close 6, right? Yeah. Okay. Now, how much money do those 6? So it's a third of your revenue, right? So it's $100,000 a year roughly. Okay. So think about this. So every one of these emails paid you $2,500.
Yeah.
That feels like a pretty good return.
Yeah.
For sending emails, probably copy and paste.
Right.
Hmm.
Do more of them.
I have a wild idea. What if we sent 400 emails?
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. If Ashley just goes from 6 to 60 affiliates, and they're currently a third, then that would be a 10x of something that's 1/3. So that alone would more than triple her business. And here's the crazy part. What's the cost of sending 400 emails? It's even less than the paid ads. So her LTV to CAC on this particular channel is even better than her paid ads channel, which is already insane. I don't even want to mess with the affiliate process that you have right now.
Yeah.
You reaching out manually is obviously effective. You send out 40 emails. Like if you did that for 4 hours every day,
Right.
you'd probably be able to send, even if you did them completely personalized, completely manual, the way that you probably did. You don't have to buy any software, like you can just send the emails. You'd be able to do that in like a week or 2 weeks if you want to spread it out. It's like not a lot. We'll give you the weekends off. So we'll go. So it's 40 emails a day.
40 emails.
I'll give it to you in a month. How about that? So we'll do 20 emails a day. That feels like that feels reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let's do that.
Best place to like pull.
The data. Good question.
Because I think it's the matchmakers, but it's also could be executive coaches, could be high-end fitness trainers,
Yeah.
people going through a transformation, weight loss.
Yeah, they need, yeah, for sure. I would think about, I think you have these in segments, right? And so you've got high-end trainers, high-end PTs, number 1. You've got exec coach, right? Mm-hmm. You've got the dating people, right?
Yep.
You've got, I'll give you one, divorce attorneys. So that's 4 lists. These ones you can find probably from Google. This you can find also from search and Instagram. There's also like list brokers.
No way,
So you can
I
just Google list
actually
broker, whatever city, and then you can, usually they'll have this massive national list, and then you can whittle it down to a localized area. Can you do any remote services?
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely I'd say 50% up, like especially during COVID, we only worked
Be the
virtually.
kid at Pokemon,
But I prefer
man.
In person. That's fine. That's cool. I like doing this stuff in person because
I like
there's so
that.
much more
I'm probably
richness
playing
to the
against other
interaction.
kids
I can see
in
someone's
this
I can see minor expression
Yeah,
changes,
man.
and I can gauge how my recommendations, like, are they confused by what I said, or like, are they? I can sense if they're like not, they don't want to push back because they're like, they don't want to insult me or something like that. I can see if they don't really believe it. It's like, okay, I need to dive in here more and make sure that, like, I can break any belief that's here, or maybe explain something a little bit differently. I don't think I get as much of that online or in like a Zoom setting. And honestly, I love business, and I think that when I have like kind of the talking videos, there's plenty of them on the channel, I am a little bit more intense in those settings because
so funny,
when I talk to
man.
a camera, and there's
Okay, let's see what we got. Collect all. It's not as addicting as Duel Links, thankfully. I don't need something that addicting. Mega Sharpedo. Mega Charizard EX. Let's just collect all. So Mega Sharpedo. Draw 2 cards. We have Mega Heracross. Charizard EX, Infernal Rain. This is really cool looking card. This is alternative art, rare candy, Fire Breather. They have alternative art for it. That's pretty cool. Yeah, this is mega awesome. Mega Gengar. If one of your Pokemon is knocked out by damage from attack from your opponent's EX, that player takes 1 fewer prize. Oh man, Mega Gengar is fucking good. Haunter. Evolves from Haunter. Mega Gengar. Let's see. Mega Heracross. Juggernaut Horn. Mega Charizard EX. It's cool. Very cool art though.
There's no one else there. I'm basically talking to myself, and I talk to myself a little bit more rough than I would talk to somebody else. And so I think in this setting, you can see like I'm pro entrepreneur. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter whether you're making $100,000 a year or you're making $100 million a year. Like you're in the game, and for that, you're eternally somebody that you have my respect. Okay. So this obviously makes money and doesn't require any financial risk.
Yeah.
And is also a compounding way of acquiring customers because you did this work. Think about this.
You
You said
get another copy of Shadow Rider, whatever fucking shit. Confirm exchange. Collect all. So this, I get more credit here. So, okay, so it gives you 1,690 credits. Whatever that is for.
sent 40 emails one time, and then you got 6 people to send you business for good. Not bad. Now, what do you do to continue to reactivate them?
Host events.
Okay, so you do events. Okay, so for the affiliates.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
I mean, like especially for like the matchmakers, they're happy because their clients are getting made over. They get better pictures, therefore they get better matches. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Really good. So I think, do you do that like regularly, like it's on a calendar? Or it's just like, okay, good. Because that's obviously that's why part of why it's working. So normally one of the things that falls off with affiliates is that they don't stay activated, they don't keep referring you.
Yeah.
And so you have to like work them like customers, like it's another set of relationships. But if you can put them all together in an event on a regular cadence where like all of the dating coaches bring all of their people and they all look good and they all get to meet each other, like that's value for everybody.
It hasn't quite turned out like that.
Okay.
But just like more one-off.
Okay.
Like hosting events with the
Just one
individual
of them.
company.
Okay, let's see how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if you do like 1 or 2 of those a year or 3 of those a year, I think that's like more than enough to keep the
Right.
people activated. And I would try and figure out a way to put them in the same room. Just because I think I would be pitching on collaboration rather than competition, which is just like, hey, you have single people, so today. Maybe
That's true, actually.
Yeah, they're all single.
Yeah.
They're all single and obviously looking to mingle, trying to look at their best life. Like, it would also be Desperation City. But anyways, so that's the affiliate piece. Okay, I feel really good about this.
Yeah.
Okay, and so in terms of lists, I would go list brokers, and then I would
List
sort,
brokers,
and I would
okay.
sort social media and Google first. That'd be like my first thing, and then I would look at list brokers once I ran out of this.
Okay.
But between like these 4 sources, you need to send 400 emails. It's not that bad. And then what's crazy is like if you send it and then they don't respond, you can send it again. Okay. Next one's continuity. So let's talk about that. Okay, so this is about increasing LTV, right? So you already have pretty good LTV, but I have this feeling like there's something that we can do better. Okay, so right now, LTV is $10,000, right? Okay, so walk me through, so if someone comes in, so I come in, I'm CEO, $8,500, I pay you for my whole lookbook, etc.
Transformation, yep.
Okay, and so but the delivery of that transformation is like a lookbook primarily, and then like,
No.
yeah, walk me through it a little more.
No, so this assessment, figuring out where we're going to go with your style, your look, then going through your current closet,
Right.
getting rid of all the old stuff.
Do you actually go to their house?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe I'll
Get rid of all the old
try
stuff,
Okay.
reorganize the closet so that it works for their life.
Okay, so closet tear down.
Yep, and then we document. We do an
Type
inventory of
boxes.
everything in their closet, so that way when they text us or they say, hey, I'm going to Turks and Caicos, hey, great, pull this, pull this, pull this, and we can give it to their housekeeper or whatever. Here's your packing list.
Okay.
Then we get new outfits, new clothes. Right now our promise is about 5 to 10 new outfits.
Okay.
We don't want to get the whole new wardrobe,
Right.
but enough to like, okay, I'm excited, I feel good. And then that's when we make the determination, okay, does this make sense given your lifestyle, you travel all the time on a monthly level or a quarterly level?
Yeah, in terms of the continuity. You mean, well, do you have churn on continuity? Do a lot of people, so people stay and they keep paying?
if it's in front of these people, not the one-time people, these people, they don't.
What was the one time?
I'll try donk.
So it was
like
priced at
once a
3,500.
And you just did this, but then didn't have anything else?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was,
Really
it could be all virtually,
Okay,
or
got
it
it.
could just be like a one-day shopping.
Way better to do in person. It's a different relationship. Yeah, no, I like that. I'm a fan. Okay, so and then the ongoing price point is what on the back end?
So
Guess 2K per month,
Per month, right,
or 4,500.
So LT, so 8,500 and then $2,000 per month. So we should be at. Now I'm guessing that you have a lot of grandfathered people of those 40 customers that are paying less than.
Yeah.
Okay, what are they paying?
1,500 monthly. Yep.
Per week or per month?
Month.
Okay, I was going to say. Wow. Okay.
And then somewhere around like 1,500 quarterly.
Okay, got it. I'm guessing the majority of them were 1,500 quarterly.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Because it's $500 a month.
Because this just all transitioned in September.
Got
So
it.
we only have like 2 people currently on the new system.
Okay, so most people are at $1,500. So if you have, call it 38 customers who are at, I'm just going to say in general, right, $500 per month because it's $1,500 per quarter. I'm just looking at revenue. Okay, because this now makes sense with the revenue that you get. Okay, cool. So the vast majority of the money is actually in a recurring revenue base. That's not bad. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. And the churn's low, so all that stuff's good. Okay, so I actually don't really want to mess with this that much because you have low churn. What's the percentage of people go from here to here?
Now that I've just said, hey, we're only working with you on a recurring basis, it's good.
Right.
The thing is, I'm almost wondering if
You say that?
yeah.
Good.
I'm almost wondering if we kill this and just do the quarterly, because this seems to be not most people.
Okay.
Do you think that it's better to simplify things or just still keep it?
No, I think you can have it. What happens is it serves as a price anchor.
Okay.
So even if only 10% of people take it, it increases the people who take that one.
Yeah,
So I don't think it's actually a mistake.
yeah,
That's
balloon.
because if you're like, because they have the reaction I did, I'm like $6,000 a quarter. Like Jesus, like, or just do 1,500. Like, oh no, that works. I'll do the $1,500.
No. It's 2K a month or
Yeah.
4,500 a quarter.
With this one.
Yes.
Okay. So you're saying at the new price point,
Yes.
it's at this. Okay. But this is brand new, and here you have all the retention that you have. So I dove into her continuity because there's oftentimes a lot of opportunity here in terms of billing cycles, in terms of pricing, in terms of ascension process to get more people to go from front end to back end. Most of her stuff here was working, and I'm trying to be mindful of the fact that she's a very small business, and she has limited resources, limited time, limited capital. And so I want to be really selective about the things that I recommend that she do and in what order, so that we select the things that have the highest likelihood of working, that have the lowest, initial cost and time and effort to make happen. Even though I probably saw some opportunities here that I think we could exploit later. For now, it was like, this is good enough to scale. We'll deal with it later once we achieve more volume, and then we'll have more data that can inform our decisions even better. And most importantly, we'll have the resources and the cash flow to be able to enact those changes without overwhelming Ashley. Yeah. Okay. You haven't had any issue with sending people into the $4,500 a quarter either.
I mean, the few that we've had, no.
It's the same thing. Right? Okay, yeah, so I'm fine with quarterly billing.
Okay.
So if you have monthly and quarterly, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm good with that. Yeah. So
Okay.
if it's now 2K per month slash 4,500 per quarter,
But even if like 90% opt into this versus this,
oh, that's fine.
still fine.
Totally fine. Totally fine. That's great. No big deal. Yeah, all that. I mean, honestly, we'll just get like. I feel comfortable with that, but I always let the market tell me. So like, I just keep edging up the price until people stop saying yes, and then I'm like, okay, that's about right. And then you kind of back down a little bit, and you're like, that's my price. Now I know that for these types of people, that's the number that they're willing to pay. Unless we change the avatar, or the marketing, or the messaging, that's going to attract these people, and they're willing to say yes at that price.
Okay.
So from a continuity perspective, I don't think we changed that because then we just changed it. So that stays the way it is. I think the $8,500, LTV is $10,000, $8,500 for the teardown, and then you have the quarterly. And so this LTV that you have here is probably going to go up. It'll just keep going up over time.
Right.
Okay, great. So I mean, honestly, the good news is the actual business is strong. Okay. So you have goodish margins, 42%. Continuity has almost no churn. That's great. LTV to CAC strong. And so the real leverage with this business is that we just need to do more.
Charizard EX plus
All right, so this is going to be the priorities in terms of how we're going to do this. All right. Now you stop spending money on ads. Why?
Because we were adding the video and we were adding in
You're
the.
fixing that
That's
stuff
fine.
first. Okay,
Against
cool.
this
So
8-year-old.
this is what we're going to do. So video sales letter.
Okay. I wonder what the
Plus lead
age of
magnet.
people are.
So plus the bit qualification. So budget authority need timing. Budget authority need timing. Plus skin, tone, color,
Analysis.
personalization. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's number one. So once we fix that, that's a conversion mechanism. So then what I want you to do is increase your ad spend. And so currently you're spending $600. Was it $300 a month? So why don't we just go to 600? How much? Actually, let me ask a question. How many can you handle? Like how many more leads could you handle than you currently are?
More.
Like how many more?
Like that convert into new clients?
Yeah. Well, like how many calls? Basically, it's a call. How many calls can you take? You're currently taking 12, right? Something like that.
Yeah, easily could double or triple that.
Okay, so let's go with 600 to 900 per month, because sometimes the lead cost might go up a little bit. That's okay. Just like so, basically, you make it a little bit less efficient, but that's fine because you have really strong TV packs. It's not a big deal. All right, number 3 is we need to
Cards will I like
send the
before. I like to
20
draw
emails
one card.
per day to affiliates, plus 1 event per quarter to keep them activated, plus 4 affiliate types that we went over. All right. So this is a big 3. So the reason I put it in this order is that she was already
So
working on the video
big.
sales letter, and so it didn't need, like, I wasn't really going to change anything she was already doing. So it's basically like, go put this in place and just add the lead magnet, which is really just like, you put a PDF together. It's an afternoon, and you change the headline on page. So it's not a huge lift there. Increasing the ad spend is literally clicking a button. So the first 2 things required basically no effort, maybe a half day of work, maybe 1 day total. That could in of themselves double, triple the business. Then I was like, okay, the next big lever, which is the affiliate play, is to then let's 10x the affiliates that we have using the tried and true channel you already are doing and just do way more of it. But that requires work and focus and effort. She has to Google people, she has to find them, she has to reach out, she has to personalize analyze this response. And so that's going to take more time. And so I wanted to just knock out quick wins that you could just do with a click of a button in a day before getting to kind of like the more meaty things that might take a few weeks. And then I don't want to mess with the continuity. So those are the like, so if we're looking at like how much could this do, it's like, okay, here we have a 2 to 3x here. Actually, I'm going to do this because Michael asked me to do this. So we've got a 2 to 3x here that we have from this guy. I think this, if I knew what the conversion rate was on your page, so if you sold, can you go back to the, yeah, okay, so here. So you got 8 sales this year, so it's like a little bit less than 1 a month, right? So I just wish I knew how many leads were coming from.
我在玩那个 Pokemon TCG， 玩那个 Yu-Gi-Oh， 不要玩那个
Yeah.
Okay.
Block， 玩不了。
And they
但是
weren't
可以
from the
玩
ads;
这个。
they were from search.
Got it. But then they clicked on your ad? 'Cause you got total
I don't
click.
even know if they clicked on the ad.
Okay, so we're also going to do this before we put in the ads. So 1.5. So this is 1.5. We need to get attribution track.
Okay.
Because we have to know, like the first step of running ads is know what happens. Otherwise, you're just spending money in the dark. So obviously, I think you're getting a return by accident rather than on purpose.
Okay.
And so let's get the attribution tracking in place. So this is going to go. We'll use blue. This will go up here. All right. So you'll fix the funnel.
Yep.
Good with the attribution tracking in place. I think the funnel lift could very well, like this is going to sound wild. This could somewhere in the neighborhood of like 2 to 5x the lead flow you have. Just doing this, especially with a good lead magnet.
Okay.
Now, the next piece is that each of your affiliates were a third of your revenue, and if we were to 10x that, then we would 10x 1/3, which would be a triple if we did this. And so the result of a, call it a 2x, a 2x, and a 3x would be a 12x, which would take us from 300K per year to 3.6 million.
Great.
Well on our way. Excited?
Yes.
Oh.
Thank you.
No, you bet. You're gonna crush it. So Ashley was amazing. I'm super stoked to see how this pans out for her in the next 6 to 12 months and see how her numbers go. I'm very bullish on it. I think she's great. If you like this type of content of actually diving into real business owners, real stories, I personally love making this. I prefer making this type of content. But if you guys like this style, please let me know. I'll probably end up just making more.
See if I can summon
But yeah, let me know,
Charizard,
and
man.
make you
Let's
feel
go,
better about
Charizard. Charizard, I summon you. Okay. 太
This is
胖
how
的
you
那
are the
种
custom
感觉。
trophy and plaques
我应该是
business
坐
with
在
$1.7
坐在
million
坐
per
在
year.
他
It's a
被
family
子
business
把
that's passed
把
down
被
4
子弄
generations.
坏
But
了
the。business only makes 6.4% profit, barely $100,000. And after taxes, it's even less. So Cody wants to pass this down to his kids one day. They're not going to inherit a thriving business, just a low-paying job with long hours and a lot of risk. I'm Alex Mosey. I own Acquisition.com, a portfolio of companies that generates hundreds of millions a year. And I also sold and built a physical products company, so I'm very familiar with some of the problems that Cody's dealing with. My suspicion is the key things that are going to catalyze his business are fixing his pricing, scaling his advertising, and figuring out how to generate repeat business from his existing customers. And so first, I'm going to dive deep into the business. Then we're going to break down all the tactics that he and you can use to scale your business. What's up?
How are you doing?
Let's talk about trophies.
Yeah. So my name's Cody Schultzen. I own Trophy Outlet. Last year we did about
You
$1.72 million in revenue, mainly trophies and
你的
awards
被子都是
personalization.
都是
About
臭臭味道。
$110,000 in profit, 6.4% net margin. And I'm third generation owner of the company. We've been in business for almost 4 years. So
That's amazing. So when I saw his low profit margins, I immediately think, is it a per unit thing that he doesn't have good economics on, which could indicate a pricing issue? Or he just needs to sell way more volume based on his fixed cost? And so anyways, I needed to dig to find out more. So what's the goal?
goal is 3.5 million in revenue. I really want to double revenue. The reason this goal is so important to me is it's the legacy to me. If I can create a business that's profitable and can sustain itself, that's a 4th generation, maybe 5th generation business.
So who do you help?
So mainly coaches, event organizers, as well as businesses and organizations, as well as gag gift purchases.
I got that vibe.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you help them?
So we have free engraving, fast shipping. Everything we do is personalized to the business or the individual. So they go to the website, to our platform, purchase, add the personalization info, their logo, things like that, and then we fulfill it if it's needs approval, anything like that. But most things ship in 1 to 2 days. So,
Sweet. How do you make money?
how do we make money? All right. So on our website, direct on our website, most of our products kind of land in the $100 to $150 price point. We have products that range from $4 all the way up to $900. Okay, so it's a wide range. Most popular item is a 4, 5, and 6 foot trophy, which kind of lands about $89 to $130.
Okay.
And then dash plaques, which are like little car show things that guys collect when they go to car shows. And,
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it's kind of some for $1.25. We sell minimum 50, but we sell thousands of them.
I've never even heard of that. So how do you get customers?
Trophy Outlet started in 1985. This is our 40th year, and we launched our Etsy business in 2019. We did about $70,000 the first year, and then in 2023, we launched Amazon and did about $300,000. And then last year, we launched TikTok Shop, and we did about $270,000 in revenue, but 250 of that came in December alone. So we had a video go viral with 20 plus million views.
That's awesome.
So it went crazy. So 250 of that came in 1 month. So that was kind of fun.
You guys are blowing these up on the TikTok shop, and since I'm in charge, I got to be here today to make sure these all get shipped out. If you can keep it going, maybe next week I'll make the fuck come in and they can take care of it. Have a good Sunday.
And you sold those.
We sold those, yeah, and not quite family appropriate, but yeah.
No, I love that. And you were able to fulfill on the amount of orders that came in?
Yeah, we did about 13,000 of those.
So do you have manufacturing set up? Like
yeah, we produce everything in house.
No way.
So we can grade cut,
Cool.
build it, all it, ship it.
So what I found really interesting about these gifts is they're very shareable, both in that like they're funny and you could share like a video about it on social media, but also because whenever you gift, you literally send a product to somebody else. And so I'm trying to think through, are there ways that we can harness that or at least lubricate that process so we can get more shares, more referrals, more return customers?
Across 4 different channels, most of our clients come through. Online and internal is through SEO and Facebook ads. We just launched Facebook ads in Meta about October, November with an agency.
Yeah.
And then Amazon, we spent about $7,100 a month between agency and ads, and then Etsy, and then TikTok, still kind of figuring that one out a little bit since it all happened in December, but about $2,000 so far.
Got it.
The channels get super overwhelming because we're spending so much money on ads and agencies and what's working, what's not working. So just getting clarity from Alex on that piece alone is super helpful.
Well, how many customers have you sold so far?
In 2024, direct on our website, and I have this broken out per channel in a couple slides, but total visits is about 90,000 visits to our site, about 2,500 orders, there's a 2.8% conversion rate, and about 781 products, so it's a lot of products.
Is everything made to order?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like you're carrying a ton of inventory. Like you got raw materials.
Raw materials, most of it we bring in from our vendors, kind of as we need it. We don't carry huge.
So when I asked, is it made to order, that was an important question because inventory can be one of the biggest costs in a business, and especially with somebody that had that many SKUs, I got really worried about it. But because it's made to order, then it's really just like optionality. So then you just look at operational efficiency of like how difficult it is to make all these different things. And I bring this just from my own physical products experience with Prestige Labs, which is my supplement company. You've got to be looking out 8 weeks, 12 weeks, sometimes 16 weeks ahead of time to make your orders, and that can be a huge cash drag on the business. What's been holding you back?
So I think it's marketing. Fulfillment-wise, we proved that in December we can handle about double fulfillment. I mean, with limited complexity. So I just need more people to the site, more people buying, and we can fulfill it. So, and also very product heavy with low margins. So working on the margin piece, getting profits up a little bit. So
do you want to like sell this company eventually, or like
I haven't really had any thoughts of selling, but I want to create a business that is sellable. Yeah. So I have the option if I want to sell or no. But I'd love for it to be a fourth generation business someday.
All right. So how many locations do you have? Because you're brick and mortar, correct?
Well, we have one retail location now. We have 2 locations total. We closed the other retail location down in its production only facility. Okay. So the other retail location, does maybe $150,000 in revenue out of that location. So
just like walk-in traffic and whatever.
Yeah, walk-in email stuff.
Does it break even?
Not really.
Okay. So you have a manufacturing facility and one retail?
Yeah, which also does some manufacturing as well. Yeah.
Is there any downside to just like consolidating to the one?
It's something that we're actually looking at. And go more e-commerce and kind of cutting the retail business.
The fact that he has 2 physical locations is a bit odd given the nature of retail in 2025. The vast majority, and it's continuing to grow as people are doing online sales, and especially with the amount of customization that he offers, it makes more and more sense for him to sell to a national base, which he's already doing. So these are the issues. What are the metrics you got?
So numbers: 1.72 million in revenue, about 110,000 in profit, 40% gross margin.
I would have expected gross margins to be higher for this business.
And it varies per product. Tons of like certain acrylics.
I was expecting like $1, like you buy these trophies and they're like $1, and you're like, there's no like this is made of rubber, like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it just varies widely between the products and platforms and stuff like that. But net margin about 6.4%, LTV 133, and then CAC 1190. LTV to CAC ratio 11:1, and that's blended across all channels.
How do you come up with pricing?
Guessing for the most part, or I'll look at some competitors, but there's not really good apples to apples comparison necessarily.
Do you do like a cost plus or like?
Yeah, so I have massive spreadsheets of all of our costs, things like that, factoring labor, and then I just kind of add my margins to it. And, I've slowly been trying to bring that up over the years.
Yeah.
When Alex was pointing out the margins and they're really low, and I agree, I just don't quite know what to do yet, but it's a problem we've been looking to solve for quite a while.
What percentage of customers are new versus return?
I don't have a percentage for that.
Gut,
I would say probably just on our website and internal customers, probably 50-50.
Okay, because this is a 4-year-old business, so you think there'd be a decent amount of return.
Yeah, a lot of our business, $530 in revenue comes just internal, so emails, calls, things like that. Most of that is repeat business.
The fact that he's getting $500,000 per year in return customers, I'm going to be poking on that to see if there's any unmissed opportunities there that we can squeeze the hell out of that and maybe double, triple that if we do it on purpose rather than on accident. Do you very high fixed costs in this business?
Not too bad, no.
Because if you have half the business comes in from word of mouth, I would expect the margins to be higher, like the net margins. Think of this as big hypothetical. It's like if we got rid of all of the new customers, and we just sold the 500 and something thousand from return customers, that should be free customer acquisition, and then we should make money. Yeah, right. But looking at this, I'd be like, I don't know if we would make money. And real quick, for those of you who are new, fixed costs are basically costs that stay in the business independent of how much you sell. So rent is a fixed cost, some kinds of labor is fixed cost, your internet connection is fixed cost. These things you have to pay every single month. Variable costs are costs as a result of sales. So if I sell more products, I have more cost of goods, right? I have more maybe labor in creating this product. The costs basically work by their name. They're fixed or they're variable.
Yeah, our COGS are pretty high.
I do think there's a pricing issue.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to. Okay, this is good. Your LTV CAC's pretty strong.
Yes, it's pretty decent. And I learned that a few months ago coming here the first time, so I started increasing.
And that's not lifetime revenue, that's gross profit.
That's profit.
Okay. Interesting. So what I'm zeroing in on is there a pricing issue, and to what extent is there one? Because this is a great litmus test. Because if you get free sales, which return customers are free sales, it costs you nothing, somebody else tells them about it, and then they come in, right? You should be the most profitable in those customers. And so if that level of volume, you're still not profitable, you either have high fixed costs, which I asked in the beginning, or we might ding-a-ling-a-ling have a pricing issue. It's a 40-year-old business. Who was in charge of pricing that whole time? Like you took it over from I guess you took it from his old man, so like your third generation.
So my parents ran the company, they didn't have a price structure, they just kind of,
and on an annual basis, do you review all prices?
Every year. Interesting. So about February, March of every year is when our vendors raise prices, so then I adjust accordingly.
Got it. Was their margins the same when they were running it?
Much less.
Lower?
Oh, way lower. Like not making money at all. So my mom was running it. I remember very distinctly looking at a product, and the COGS on that were like $50, and we were selling it for like $45. I mean,
this is not working.
Yeah. So I immediately raised prices. Yeah. Like doubled them almost. And constantly just continually up them.
Yeah, I think I have some ideas there. All right, what else you got?
Channel breakdown. So direct traffic and internal is our biggest 13 to 1 LTV to CAC ratio. Amazon, our highest conversion rate, and 9.6% conversion, and of course the blended 11 to 1 LTV to CAC. So
interesting. And so you don't have LTV metrics on TikTok?
No, couldn't quite figure that out yet.
Okay. The easiest way to do it is just go total revenue divided by total number of customers.
Okay.
So you 262. You know how many customers you sold?
I think it was about almost 13,000.
Michael, 262 divided by 13,000. That's 262 divided by 13. Yeah, clean. Okay, so $20. That sound about right?
Average, yeah.
So that's the average order value, right?
Yes.
We just don't know how many times they've purchased.
Right, which is one as of this,
So AOV is typically used in e-commerce or retail, which is average order value. He's saying that he has a low average order value on TikTok, but it's very different for different customers or different channels. And so it's valuable to understand what the AOV is by customer and by channel. Now, this is a little bit of data, but at the end of the day, if you want to win, you got to know your numbers. If we're thinking about the business zooming all the way out, we have the cost of getting a customer, and then we have what customers are worth. And the first transaction you get is going to be the average cart, right? The first transaction. But then after that, you want repeat purchases as well. And so I'm going to probably be pruning into like, okay, how many people buy again? Or is it a one-time purchase? And things like that.
So, well, bonus for you. So I've been following your content for quite a while, and obviously you have the calves of God. So here's the calf goat.
I'm honored.
Calf goat.
Well, thank you.
Time, so.
I wish. Is it a cow? Is it a calf?
It's a goat.
Oh, it's a,
Yeah,
it's a goat. For a second, like, is it like a bit of like a calf, like a little baby cow?
I could have done that too. I didn't think
No,
about
this
that.
is great.
Yeah, this is
Thank
one of
you.
our top selling products.
Is it really?
Goat trophy.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
It's trendy.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I will put it on my desk, and I'll show Layla. Just remind her of my calf excellence.
Yeah, so we actually have a gift for Layla also, which is in the back.
Oh,
So,
is it? Is it
yeah.
for me to give to her so I can get
Sure,
some
yeah.
husband points?
You get some husband points. Look at this.
She'll love this. This is great. She'll love this. I love these. These are really good.
Yeah.
So you want to double revenue?
Yep.
Got it. What's this I hear about you wanting to buy another business?
Yeah, so I had a business reach out to me that's in the same industry, in the St. Louis market that we're already in. So he's getting old, wants to retire. So
And what's he doing in revenue and profit?
he does about double what we do, about $3 million in revenue. Don't know profit share. We haven't got to 20 but he's got from what I understand, he does pretty decent on his margins. He does a lot more custom stuff, so which is a lot higher margin on some of that stuff. The biggest concern with him is 70% of his revenue comes through one customer.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big.
I wouldn't
big
buy
red
that.
flag. Wouldn't buy that. Gotcha.
I would try and find out, if I could, who the vendors were that he has in China for his connections for his raw materials.
Yeah.
So that I could try and use those vendors.
Yeah, that was actually one resource I thought was, well,
Yeah.
if I could buy this and it's cheap enough.
It's monstrous customer risk, and especially if you have somebody retiring, that one customer might be. So at acquisition.com, we have a scorecard called the value acceleration method, which essentially how can you both maximize value and then also minimize risk, which ultimately makes a company more valuable. In this one, he says there's two big red flags here. First is you've got key man risk, which is when you have a small business, you've got an owner that's retiring, oftentimes they are key man in the business. Now they've been working for how many years, and there's so many things that they're unconsciously competent of and unconsciously are doing to keep the wheels going, and it's often not documented or at least well documented. So that's a big concern, number one. But by far, the biggest concern, number two, is that 70% of the revenue is coming from one customer. So if that customer leaves because maybe the guy retires and he has a relationship with them, then I'm so out, right, on this deal. Now, the third thing here is we have to answer the question, why bother, right? Like, why are we even doing this? What problem are we solving? Now, he did bring up that this guy has some better connections for raw materials, which can improve his margins, which I do think is valuable. But do I want to buy a business to get a connection? I'll zoom out from back forward, which is like, what do we want to be when we grow up? Basically, this is going to become a media/marketing business that monetizes through trophies, right? Or you can go the B2B wholesale route, which is probably like outbound sales team that's calling wholesalers and whatnot. Yeah. From what it sounds like you're better suited for the e-commerce, direct-to-consumer side. That's what it sounds like. I don't like.
Currently, that's where we're at. Yeah.
Okay. Because I think you
we
get
do
more than
some
double.
wholesale currently, and it's just easier.
Yeah.
That just kind of
Just
came
do
naturally. It
it.
wasn't anything we pursued necessarily. But
Understood.
yeah, majority of it's all e-commerce and.
Okay. You might have one of the simpler plans that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, I mean, simple doesn't mean bad. Simple is good. Sometimes you have like 10 things to do. It's better to have 3 that move the needle a lot. And I think you're kind of in that situation. There's 3 big things, but I think we'll why don't you come over here and then we'll net it out. So Cody is actually at stage 5 productized in the $100 million scaling roadmap. So if you look at marketing, he needs to spend more on niche down marketing. And so the issue here is that he has 2 different avatars and we have to get him to pick and commit. The nice thing is that I can probably tell you what the other problems he's gonna be having at this level are and what he needs to do to graduate to get to the next level. We broke down the stages of scaling a business into 10 steps and we did it across all 8 functions of the business. So product, marketing, sales, customer service, IT, recruiting, finance, and HR. And the nice thing is that businesses behave in patterns. And so if you wanna know where you're at and what you need to do to get to the next level, this scaling roadmap is absolutely free and it comes personalized to you. So we built this bot, you plug in your business information and we'll send it right over to you. Now, if you like the interaction that I'm having with Cody and you're like, man, I would love it if acquisition.com would take a look at my business and see if they could help me kind of move the pieces around and make it significantly more valuable. We run scaling workshops under our advisory practice throughout the year. And if you want that, on the thank you page, you can schedule a call, talk to my team and see if it's a fit. Otherwise, get the scaling roadmap. It's absolutely free and enjoy the rest of the video. What percentage of customers are gag gifts?
So that's the Amazon, Etsy,
TikTok.
That's all that.
So it's like,
What's that?
whatever.
4%.
Yeah.
Roughly. And that's kind of been the fastest growing since 2019. That's
For sure.
when we launched that, which is all under a different brand technically.
Okay.
We started a different brand back then because we don't want the explicit vulgar to be under Trophy Outlet.
Sure.
Church moms and stuff get.
Yeah,
see
I
that
hear you. I hear you. With this business, like fundamentally, you just have you've traffic in a conversion page, like, and then if you already have, let's call it, for right now, not a constraint on manufacturing or anything like that. The 3 big kind of levers that I want to go off of is number 1 is consolidation,
which instantly adds to profit.
yeah, pricing, which also instantly adds to profit,
Absolutely.
and then media. These are the big ones.
Okay.
So from a consolidation perspective, we have the SKUs, right?
Yep.
And then we also have the brick and mortar locations. And then we kind of have like a model. So like in terms of like how I'm thinking through this. So from a SKUs perspective, if you're not carrying that, like normally I'd be like, we need to massively cut down on SKUs. But like if you don't have like this warehouse full of stuff and it's just like more options for people to purchase, I don't think we need to like get rid of anything.
And a lot of the SKUs too, it's the same product, just maybe for football versus
Yeah.
baseball. It's a very similar product.
Right, it's a GOAT trophy, and you just put a different plaque on it. Same thing. That doesn't bug me. And if you're like, man, it's super hard for my team to build all these different things, then I'd be like, all right, well then we should look at that. But if it doesn't seem like you're stressed on the manufacturing side.
No. But that's where my skill set lies too.
Okay.
As far as operations is what I'm good at.
So the second is the brick and mortar. If you have this retail location and it's basically breaking even or losing money, and that's not even the future of the business, then to me, I would say let's just save our $50,000 a year in rent and then just add that to the bottom line. I feel like that would be a good idea because that would increase profit by 50%, which is like chill.
Pretty much instantly.
Yeah, and also there's just like the headache of like it's this thing over here. Yeah, and you probably just take a couple of good people from there, bring them home.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So that feels good. So the next one is model.
This is arguably the most important decision that he has to make in this entire kind of interaction with me, because this is the strategy or the vision of the business. Like, what kind of business do you want to be when you grow up? And I think a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck in no man's land and they just can't decide. And so if you think about what the definition of decide is, it actually comes from Latin, which is decadere, which means to cut off, and which means we have to figure out what path we're going to cut off by making a decision. But like, if he wanted to have an exit of some kind, then the revenue retention is going to be a really important thing. If he just wants to make money and grow, then it would probably be faster for him to just go the consumer route and simply arbitrage media and make the spread, which tons of people are doing right now, and I think would totally work for him. But what won't work is trying to pursue both masters and ultimately serve neither.
So in some ways you have two businesses, let alone like if you were like forget about the third one you're thinking about buying. Like you already have two, and I'd rather have one. I'm not saying cut the one that you have. It's obviously a 40-year-old business, but like I really have to make that decision, and that's actually not a me decision. It's a you decision. So if I'll say it the way that I think Layla loves framing opportunities this way, because I always think about upside, Joe always thinks about downside, and so it's like what problem would you rather solve? So in the gag gift path, the problem that you're gonna have to solve is you're always gonna have to find new cheap forms of media. So it's going to be like TikTok Shop is what it is today, and live shopping, and that'll probably be good for another year or two. And then it's like that'll start to get more expensive, and other people compete. And it's like then you're going to be in the next whatever the next game is, and you're just going to have to get really good at paid ads and creative and conversion optimization on the site, increasing average order, that kind of stuff. The other path is you build either an outbound sales team so that they can sell these kind of B2B offerings that are, you know, or B2C if you want to consider the fantasy leagues, and or just like a simple meta ad strategy that would lead people to call the number functionally. Okay. And then there you're saying, cool, our goal is to be your trophy provider for life. Right. And I think the fact that your 4-year-old business sounds really good. It's like, hey, we're 4-year-old business, our goal is to be your manufacturer for life. And so of course we're gonna do this one, but if you want, we'll also give you 20% off next year if you make the order now. Or I don't know, like I play around with that. But which of the two paths sounds like the life you want to live?
That's tough. Only because media for me has always been a hurdle. It's not something I'm overly great at.
Do you like it? Okay,
I mean,
fair.
I will do it. I have to do it if it makes money for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
But I don't know that I love it per se.
This is a tough one.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what, you know.
Because like if you want to hit 3 million next year, I was like, we could do 10 million next year. I would just say we're going to take all of our resources, we're going to go all in on TikTok, viral, organic, and you're going to deploy everything into TikTok Shop and get influencers to do lives for you, showing all these funny gag gifts. Because like the trophies are so built for shareability. Yeah. Like, and so that's, I mean, 20 million views is a monster video, but I'll bet you you probably crack off 1 million view videos all the time with these types of
I haven't figured that out yet, but you know, it all just.
I think if that was all you focused on, you would be able to figure it out, because these are funny.
Right.
And I think having like little skit scenarios where people, you know, walk in and they see the boss's thing, or they change their plate, or, you know, someone loses and then it just says like biggest loser, you know, like that kind of like the negative versions. Yeah. We still need to make this decision.
Hearing you talk, like going to here to 10 million, I like that better. Even though I do, like I'll get used to videos and content.
Yeah.
Like that, you know?
The leagues thing is like that's the very stable version of this business. And if you did ultimately want to sell in the future, you being able to go to a potential buyer and saying like, I have 5,000 leagues that buy our trophies from us every year, and leagues on average stay for 12 years. You know, like guys who do fantasy or whatever it is. It's like that's fairly, you know, that's a pretty reoccurring business. You know, that's a pretty good business. Yeah. Harder to build though, and slower.
Much harder to build.
Right. That's also why it has more value. So if between those two paths, I would like to just make more profit now and potentially scale faster, then we can talk about the media version of this.
I think that's probably where I would.
Okay, cool.
You know, I chose the TikTok route because of the scalability of it versus sticking on the path we're on. Yeah, it can become a big business, but I look at the competitors that have been in the business for 40 years, and that's a long road and a long life versus the scalability that I can then turn around and put people in place that I don't have to be there. Like, that's more appealing to me than just creating a big business.
So first things first is we're going to consolidate attention. So we're going to shut down losing location. So that should right off the bat be a plus 50% improvement to profit. Yep. Which is great.
Cody cutting down that extra location is going to cost basically no revenue because he's getting so little foot traffic that I'm not worried about the loss in sales, because he's going to more than make up with that in 2 ways. One, he's going to have the $50,000 a month cost basically drop straight to the bottom line. And for his business, given the low margins he has, that's significant. The second thing is that he's going to consolidate his attention. So he can take the best people from there, bring them to home base, get rid of the people that aren't necessarily as good, or as I like to say, release to free agency so they have better opportunities somewhere else. And then this way he can kind of like make the dream team at home base and really double down on what matters. And I can't really emphasize this enough. The amount of return you get on focus as an entrepreneur is higher than any resource. And fundamentally, this is strategy, it's prioritization. And that means that if it's not a priority, you don't do it.
The second thing, pricing. So what I want you to do is I want you to switch from, you're probably familiar with this. So there's a lot of different pricing models, but you have basically something called a cost plus model. You look at your costs, and then you add a margin in, and whatever. The problem is every business I know that does a cost plus model doesn't make a lot of money. And so you want to switch to value-based pricing, which is purely based on what someone's willingness to pay is. And that could be unlimited, and it doesn't matter what your stuff costs, because why do they care what it costs, right? Basically, like as your vendors increase their costs to you, in some ways, it shouldn't have any effect on the price of what you sell, because the price of what you sell is completely divorced of that and based on what somebody's willing to pay. Gotcha. So in terms of how we can do this, so A, which will seem a little bit less scary, is I would consider, this to sound crazy, but like monthly, like 5% price increases. Like just keep going and just keep going. That is like path one. Yeah. And the thing is that every time you raise the price by 5%, you double your profit, or I'll say 6%. If you want to be like, hey, I doubled my profit this month, then the next month you can raise by 6%, and then more than double because it's 6% times the 6%, right? So that is one way. The other way is that you just start immediately split testing, kind of like 80-20 on your highest sales velocity items. This is simple, right? This is simple to do. You don't have to do any thinking, you just add it, and that's what it is. This one will probably get you more profit faster. It just takes a little bit more thought. So you'll take those 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot trophies and just start just keep bumping the price and just seeing what conversion rate looks like. What you're trying to optimize for is gross profit times units sold. And so if you think about it, it's like, where's the sweet spot where I get the most amount of units sold at the highest gross profit? Oftentimes, it's higher than you think it is. Because where I think a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck is like, sales velocity goes down and then they get afraid. But the thing is that you will usually make more money before you make less money when sales velocity drops, usually.
I'm referencing something called price elasticity, meaning if we make the price go up, how much do the sales go down? In general, when you raise a price, fewer people buy. But the question is, buy how many? So for example, if I were to double the price of something, and that might triple my margins or quadruple my margins, and 25% fewer people buy, I should absolutely do that, even though fewer people ultimately say yes. And so he's in one of these situations where he's selling barely enough to stay profitable, but he's selling a decent amount of volume. And so I'm just saying, I wonder if there's a way that we can bump this price even by 6% would double his profit. That's why I'm testing how sensitive is this market. Now he did indicate that the customer that he decided he wasn't going to pursue, which is the car show guys, the B2B sales, the people who are kind of not the gag gift thing, those people are very sensitive. And so it's like, okay, if they're the sensitive ones and we're going away from them, are the ones that we're going towards less sensitive? And it seems like the answer is yes. And to me, that's a big profit opportunity.
In terms of cadence for price tests, would you do it on the site more, or do you think you would be doing it on the phone?
It'd be on the site.
Okay.
Because that's where customers see the pricing, even if they call or anything like that.
Yeah, I'll bet you right now, because I don't know how many people buy. Is it a super price sensitive market?
Trophies, yeah, can be,
Okay.
especially with certain avatars. Like car show guys are cheap.
Which ones?
Car show guys.
Car show.
Yeah,
Yes,
they're ones that try to be
I'll bet
more
you what's interesting about this is that your recurring revenue business is very price sensitive, and your gag business
gag
is not.
at all.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes me lean more towards the gag gift side anyways, because we can get customers for free and we have far more pricing power because they're in the moment, they think it's funny. Whether it's $8 or it's $12 or $16, I kind of just want to buy it.
Yeah.
You know, the difference between 8 and 16 is monstrous, right?
Yeah.
For the business. So site price test, and I would probably start with the gag gifts here, and then I'll make 3, I'm trying 1.6% on boring side. Boring trophies.
At the end of the day, you shouldn't take anyone's advice, including your own. You should just take the customer's advice. And the way the customer gives you advice is by running a test and just actually seeing, will you buy it or not? And the nice thing is, if you raise the price and you go too high and you ultimately have people, sales decrease, then you can always lower it again. Not a big deal. But not testing your price is the most expensive thing that you can do in a business from the profit that you should be making but aren't.
Now, this is the major part, is if your focus is going to be media, and that's going to be the direction you're going in. Was there an influencer or something who made the video that had the trophy in it?
No, it was my
Oh,
operation.
you guys did it,
Yeah,
and it just happened to just crush.
It got tagged. Our product on TikTok Shop got tagged, and we sold 70 to 100 off of that. And then we
Okay.
did a follow-up video, and that's the one that had 16 million views.
Okay.
Yeah, it was-
How many TikToks are you making a month?
Right now, we're doing about 1 a day, and we're trying to ramp that up to 3 a day.
Okay.
The gifts that he has, the gag gifts, the head mofo in charge, those types of gag gifts lend themselves really well to being shared and going viral. And so him doubling down on all the different permutations of that as different hooks and different organic content, that makes complete sense, and he should just do as much of it as he possibly can. And for anyone who's listening to this and is like, okay, he's gonna go from 1 to 3, I wanna just break a belief for you. You can post 100 times a day. The platform is incentivized to distribute your content to as many people as possible to retain attention. And so there's a lot of mythology on all platforms of people who say, don't post more than X times. I think it absolutely just comes down to a quality metric, which is how many times can you post good stuff? But there's an Instagram page that's in Bollywood that posts 100 times a day and gets 9 billion views. And so the thing is that not the same people are gonna see every post. And so right now when you make a post, only 1 or 2% of your audience likely see it. And so if you make 10 more posts, they might just show it to other people in your audience that aren't the first people who saw it.
So the direct site traffic right now comes predominantly from SEO. So talk to me about that. Do you have an SEO firm, or do you go to
Yeah,
SEO?
no, it's an SEO agency.
How long have you been working with them?
This one, about 8 months.
8 months.
Traditionally, I've always had pretty good success with SEO.
Okay.
And we stopped SEO because the previous company wasn't performing, and we just let it go for several months, and then hired another.
And then when these guys came in and started going back up again, what stops you from doing more SEO? Or rather, what stops it? If you were to say, hey, because when I see 13 to 1, right, I'm like, that sounds interesting. If you were to say, hey, I want you to give me 3 clients worth of focus so that you can give me 3 times the backlinks and 3 times the articles or whatever it is that they're turning out for you, is there anything that's, because if you get 13 to 1, it's we should spend as much as we possibly can on that.
And that's why I started Meta. Is
But it's different though.
Yeah.
Because it's interruption-based ads versus SEO where it's intent-based. Do you think you go to the SEO agency and just say, how do you max me out?
I can absolutely do that.
Okay. I would, because it's also these things are things that are not taking your time. Right.
So the SEO was interesting to me because he had an outsourced agency that was handling the vast majority of it, so it wasn't actually a big time drain for him, and it had really good returns. And so again, allocation of resources. Think about it this way: if you have a machine that you can put $1 in and get $13 out, what do you limit your dollars in with? You don't. You just put as many dollars in as you possibly can, which is why I asked the question, how do we do 10 times more of this?
So this is media 1 is SEO max out.
And the SEO company wants me to do Google ads as
Yeah.
well. Is that something you kind of throw into that mix? Okay.
Yeah, especially these are both intent-based, right?
Yeah.
At the very least, you should own your own terms, which is all your names and derivatives of your names. I've rarely seen anyone in any business just own their own terms and not make money off of it.
Gotcha.
And so people are like, well, I don't want to pay for a click. I was going to get things. Is you're not always going to get the click, and so having it there, I'm like, you're going to make the money. You know what I mean? But then the second version of that is associated terms, the long tail keywords. Now, gag gives 100%. No one's like, hey, fucking move follow the plan, trophy, right, or whatever.
Probably not scrolling on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm really looking for. Yeah, I've been looking for a goat calf trophy. Right. Okay. So this is the like if we're looking at this, these are all what I would consider like black and white, very low lift, almost guaranteed to make you more money moves. Almost all of these will just make you more money. This is 13 to 1. This is probably going to be high return. This could double the profit. This adds $50,000 to the bottom line. The price test for sure going to increase on the gag gifts. So now we can talk about the media side. So we're going to go from 1 to 3 a day. And I think that you should focus on trends and memes because this is a gag gift brand. So it's okay for you to just like be silly and ridiculous. And so like there are so many memes. Mike, where do we find our like TikTok meme stuff? Just hire a 17-year-old. Yeah, I just be like, what's trending right now? You know what I mean? Like
if you're a little bit on the older side, perhaps you're a millennial, right? And you have a graying beard, and you're ultimately going to be taken out to pasture in the next 5 years, right? And put to rest, as I am. You have to get people who are younger than you, who are in the game of social media, who know what's hot right now, and can make contextually relevant or native media that ultimately gets way more shares, way more views, and then ultimately more conversion. Plus 1,000 aura to Cody.
So what's interesting is that a lot of these TikTok ones also do well on Instagram, so you could repurpose there. Do you post on Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
started.
Yeah, you'll get double you get double usage on that. But yeah, TikTok is like the perfect platform for you for these gag gifts. Like it makes complete sense to me that you did 250,000 a month. And so the reason I said the 10 million is like, okay, well that happened on accident. Let's do it on purpose. Right. And if you can do 250 a month just from that, it's like, well, there's 3 million.
Yeah.
I think you getting really ridiculous with the volume will get you a lot better. And I think this is one of those things that you should live close to. Okay. Like you. Yeah. Like these things are all things that you can do probably the week you get back. You know what I mean? This one is gonna be this is like the big commitment of what's the bet we're making. The bet we're making is that mastering TikTok, live selling, etc., is gonna be the way.
It's definitely a new scale. It's a little intimidating to know like, okay, this is where 80% of my time is going to go now for a new task that I've never done. But very innovative, which I love innovation. I love thinking about like, oh, hey, how can we be different than the industry? And this is definitely different.
Now, the second part of kind of like TikTok mastery is going to be influencers. Okay. And so what's nice with TikTok Shop is that your stuff is automatically going to be listed there and other people can make videos for it. And you're in the price point that's perfect for TikTok Shop. Yep. Like 20, 30, 50, like it crushes for that stuff. And it's such easy videos for people to make.
And that lines up with what TikTok loves to.
Wait, have you been reaching out to them? Or,
we have an account rep now.
Oh, cool. Great. Well, I guess you did 250. So yeah.
But yeah, affiliates, they said hit affiliates hard.
Yeah. And I mean, fundamentally, like these are basically one-time work. Mm-hmm. This is the only ongoing work that you do. Trends and memes, and I'd be posting 1 to 3 times a day there. Repurpose on IG, right? That's just free traffic. And then the influencers will also kind of it'll be like a loop here. So it's like they'll do something that works well, and then that will feed it'll just be this nice loop where they're also creating content for you. Okay.
Real quick, this type of content I've gotten a ton of positive feedback on, and so I'm going to continue to make it. But what I need your help on is helping it distribute, because this isn't wide algorithm stuff. A lot of people aren't going to see it because it's narrower and it is for business owners. So if you know a business owner, or you have kids and you want them to learn business, or if people who are business interested, it would mean the world to me and my team who put so many hours into making this stuff for you. It would just mean the world if you send it to them. It would mean a lot.
And then I'm going to put number 7 on here because I think this is worth it. The TikTok ads that you said you just started, basically the process is going to look like this. You make the ad, right? Or sorry, you make the content. You're making content, right? You're making TikTok content. That TikTok content, 10% go viral, whatever, and then 90% flop, right? Then this, you put ad money behind it. You send this to influencers and say, make stuff like this because this is what's converting. And then they'll make versions of this that'll also inform your content, which you'll then try to make iterations of what they're doing. And so like you're kind of your source, like you're starting, here's the TikTok content, some does well, great, push ads behind it. By the way, guys, here's the ones that are working well. They make stuff, you can take theirs, push money behind it as well, and model it and make permutations of it. Gotcha. And so for this stuff, I would be kind of hook centric, meaning for most short form platforms, like the hook is everything. Yeah. And once you have a winning hook, I would like reuse it over and over again.
The reason I'm recommending he double down on TikTok is you want to go where the fish are, right? You want to go where the getting is good. And so right now, TikTok Shop is crushing it, it's blowing up. Lots of people are doing very, very well on the platform, and he already has seen some success. And so as soon as I get that little inkling of success, there's that little blood in the water, that's when I want to just like go ham on it. So one is how do we increase volume? Secondarily, how do we increase quality of output? Basically, once we do these easy fixes, this is really the long-term strategy that he needs to get really good at, is that he's got to get really good at media.
You actually have a really simple one. The nice thing is that I have a lot of confidence in your, like there's basically no like, I'm not really sure. Like site price test could easily like 2x profit. Yeah. Like on its own, because the margins are so slim right now. Right, 6x. This is a 2x on profit for sure. SEO max out. Well, right now it's 50% of revenue is coming from that. So it's like maybe we get a 50% boost from them doing a better job on it. PPC will just get you good returns. This might give you like a 10 to 20% boost. So I don't think it'll be huge, but it's free and it's a one-time setup, so it's not hard to do. TikTok's gonna be the big lever of like how do we go from 1 million to 10 million. Yeah. It's like if you did nothing else but just say like a year from now, if all we did was master TikTok and TikTok shopping, we would win. Like if you did nothing else, this is just going to take all of your existing business and make it more profitable, so that you can take all of this cash and float it here. Yeah. But actually fairly straightforward. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Rather than like we have to bet the farm on something, which sometimes has to happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. Way simpler than I was thinking. So
oh, good. Yeah. Dude, we just do more of what works.
Right.
And the fact that you have such low margins excites me. because when you make 5 or 10% improvements, you double or triple profit.
Exactly.
Right. And the fact that you haven't like that there was no pricing discipline, like there's no like process to pricing besides like we'll just keep raising it when our costs go up. Usually there's just like when I see a business like that, there's like massive unlocks. Like I'm saying 6% on point trophies, but like you might be able to push 25.
Yeah.
And that 4x is 5x is profit. Right.
Whenever I see a business that's mispriced or extremely mispriced, I get really excited because I know it's one of the lowest operational drag moves that you can do. Functionally, everything else you have to do in business, you got to do something. With pricing, you literally change a number or you say a different word at the end of a phone call. Like it's that easy to change, but it has such a dramatic impact on how profitable business is. And what's crazy about that is that entrepreneurs tend to be the most afraid of pricing changes. So it's all between your ears and psychology and fear, just having the courage to just say a bigger number. The fear is that you're somehow going to lose your business. You just, if it doesn't work, you just lower it back again. Not a big deal. But this could change his life, and so I'm very interested to find out more there.
What's the offer that you have in the box?
Usually it's a little code that says like 10% or something to order again.
Why don't you give something much better than that? Okay. So we have to come up with a really compelling offer to get people who are buying. 'Cause the nice thing, the important thing is, are you doing fulfillment for Amazon sales?
We have some FBA, but most of it's FBA.
Okay.
We're gonna go sleep.
Okay, great. So you're fulfilling most of it. That's wonderful. Okay. So